Work.m4v, and I'm the project director for Phase 2 of Crow Canyon's archaeological excavations out in the Goodman Point unit of Hovenweep National Monument. This is a map of the Goodman Point unit of Hovenweep. All of the colored blobs that you see on the map are actually habitation sites that date to different periods of time based on a number of material correlates, and those material correlates were recorded on survey, and so this colored blob is actually a Pueblo 2 to Pueblo 3 habitation site. The blue blobs are Pueblo 3 habitation sites dating somewhere from 1150 to 1280, and the one green habitation site down here is thought to be exclusively Pueblo 2, dating from about AD 900 to AD 1150. So you can see there's really a dense settlement pattern in the unit, and part of our work these last 3 years has been to go around to a number of these smaller sites that are situated on the landscape around Goodman Point Pueblo, which is this gray blob here, really large canyon head Pueblo, somewhere around 114 kivas at that site. Public architecture, including a great kiva and multiple bi-wall structures. Really an interesting site that was the focus of our work for the first 3 years. Now we're trying to fill in the gaps in the landscape around it by looking at some of these earlier sites and how they relate to the Big Canyon Head Village, which appears to date a little bit later than most of the sites we're working on now. Also, part of the landscape study, we're looking at ancient roads. This is part of an ancient belt loop road that's actually a man-made manufactured road kind of in the southwest part of the unit. It appears to connect maybe back up here to Shields Pueblo, which is outside of the National Park Service boundary, but a place which Crow Canyon worked from 1997 to 2000. And so all these little black circles and squares that you see on there are excavation units we dug up there. But really just trying to tie in the landscape using different features like roads, trying to identify ancient fields and test those to see when they were in use, maybe how intensively they were used through time, and see how that change in land use through time may have affected settlement patterns and ultimately led to the formation of Goodman Point Pueblo around the Canyon Head Spring and eventual abandonment of the large village there as well. Within the unit, we began in 2005. At Shields Pueblo, which is basically just across the county road to the north, we dug there from 97 to 2000. Other excavations in what we call the Sand Canyon locality, a piece of land that's basically formed by Goodman Canyon over here by the Goodman Point unit and Sand Canyon over on the western side. That's been going on for about 20 years through different. Our understanding is increasing all the time, and hopefully through projects like this we'll be able to build some really fine-grained chronologies of when folks were out there, what kind of activities they were doing, and how all of these individual habitation sites relate to one another spatially, temporally, and culturally through time. We got a lot of tree ring dates from Goodman Point Pueblo, the big Canyon Head Village where we worked for the first 3 to 4 years of the project, and it's really great having those tree rings in the kivas and in the room blocks and in different structures that we excavate, because if we find the right specimen, that can tell us the year that tree was cut down, probably for construction, and potentially even the season of the year. So, for instance, the one kiva that we excavated down at Goodman Point Pueblo, we got a cluster of cutting dates around 1265 AD. That suggests to us that that particular kiva was built probably in 1265, maybe first part of 1266. So it's just really remarkable to have 1 year resolution on being able to date structures in context. It's really great for interpreting all the archaeology out there. A lot of our information about the demographic pattern and population numbers come from survey data, which basically combines the surface remains at a site, the artifacts that are left in the midden, the architectural remains that are still present from the surface. And we can use those things to estimate a date for when that particular habitation was occupied. And as you do that for each habitation site, you can begin to develop a demographic model to see, all right, during a certain period of time, the survey data indicate that there was a population increase or a decline, looking at it regionally. But we can, and especially with the testing, now we can even get a finer grained look at that using tree ring dates and the assemblage data that we get from testing these habitation sites.